My family and I were camping. I remember sitting at one of the picnic tables and I cracked open a brand new Game Informer magazine. The cover had me interested. Some woman shooting at a robot with more flying around in the background? That's awesome. I opened it to read about how a bunch of ex-Infinity Ward employees said fuck off to Activision and made their own studio, the aptly named Respawn Entertainment. How they were excited to jump right in and create a new original IP known as Titanfall. I read on. The game sounded and looked amazing. I was crushed and upset to find out it was an Xbox 360 and Xbox One exclusive. Now, me being 14 and a huge Sony fanboy at the time, I wrote it off and made any excuse I could to bash the game when it came up in conversation, despite my overwhelming interest. I never played the first Titanfall game. However, fast forward 2 years and here comes the sequel, coming to both consoles. I immediately pre-ordered and was lined up at GameStop for the midnight release. I fell in love with the game, and more importantly, I fell in love with the developer. Many of you know EA's poor decision-making basically signed Titanfall 2's death warrant, when they sandwiched it between two of the biggest releases of the year, the new Call of Duty and the new Battlefield. Despite this, however, Vince Zampella, one of the founders of Respawn, made it clear that they were still committed to the community. They would continue to add free updates to the game while having one of the best monetization models. I think he said, and this isn't a direct quote, this is off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure he said, no, it's not the community's fault that the game underperformed. And I thought that was an amazing quote. They sold camos and other customization options. For example, you could get a pack of about 20 camos applicable to all your weapons, your titans, and your pilots for about $3. Now compare that to Call of Duty's $4 weapon camos in most of their games. And it just shows that they had a great monetization, even when the game underperformed. I mean, they added a new Titan, new maps, new modes. It was amazing. I played Titanfall for years. I still do occasionally, and readily awaited news of Titanfall 3, like every other fan. I was absolutely crushed to find out that there wouldn't be a Titanfall 3, but there would be something called Apex Legends, a free-to-play game that would take the Battle Royale genre by storm. At least for a couple weeks. Now, I played Apex Legends at launch because I was worried that it wouldn't do well, and I wanted to support one of my favorite dev teams. I almost had this desire to make sure I supported it, you know? Boy, I was wrong. Apex Legends opened to about 1 million players, and by 72 hours in, they were nearing 10 million. I was relieved because Respawn had recently been bought by EA, and as we know, EA has no issue shuttering dev teams who don't meet standards. I don't play Apex anymore. I kind of fell off of it. I found other things to play, and it just didn't interest me that much. But I still care about it. Apex Legends launched and gained the respect of the community. Vince Zampella himself even said when asked why they launched out of the blue, he was asked, why did you guys launch like this? Because Apex Legends launched without any... It leaked, pretty much. And then once it leaked, they were like, hey, tune into this live stream. And they announced it and launched it the same day. And they asked him, why did you launch like that? Now, this isn't a direct quote again. This isn't a direct quote. But he basically said, look, it's an EA game with loot boxes and it isn't Titanfall 3. Which shows you that the man knows what's up and isn't afraid to tell the truth. Now, why did I go through all of that and give you a background on Respawn's history? Well, I think it's very important you know my personal bias and feelings going into this controversy, and that I am not just some YouTuber reporting on the hottest topic. This is close to me, and Respawn is a dev team that I've gone to bat for and defended plenty of times. Now recently Apex Legends has dropped their Iron Crown event, where the point is to earn an heirloom item by gathering pieces of a set to make it to the end and get that heirloom item. Now the monetization in Apex Legends had been pretty standard and fair up until this point. $20 direct buy skins, duplicate protected loot boxes, and an optional battle pass. Pretty fair and standard. The Iron Crown event has taken any goodwill and thrown that straight out the window. To get these pieces, you have to purchase loot boxes for $7 a piece. There are 24 items in total. You can earn 2 Iron Crown loot boxes from challenges. That leaves 22 items you have to gamble for in loot boxes. There is no other way to earn them unless it's from Iron Crown Apex packs that you have to pay for. There is no other way to earn them. Now get this. Once you get all your items, you unlock the option to fucking purchase the heirloom item for around $35. That's it. You earn the privilege to spend $35. That puts your total money spent if you want all the items at around $185. That's absolutely batshit fucking crazy. With one event, Respawn and EA managed to flush away all the goodwill Apex Legends had earned. Despite this, everyone assumed it was EA forcing Respawn to push the envelope of monetization, keeping Respawn's reputation and community goodwill intact. That is, until Respawn's Drew McCoy took to Reddit. It started off decent enough with a corporate-prepared HR-approved stale apology. Something I might add that is standard of EA when they get caught fucking up. The apology is as follows, and I quote, "Hey everyone, at launch we made a promise to players that we intend to do monetization in a way that felt fair and provided choice to players on how they spent their money and time. A core decision during development of Apex Legends was that we wanted to make a world-class Battle Royale game in quality, depth, progression, and important for today's conversation, how we sell stuff. With the Iron Crown event, we missed the mark when we broke our promise by making Apex packs the only way to get what many consider to be the coolest skins we've ever released." End quote. Like I said, it's corporate bullshit. This doesn't sound like an apology from Respawn at all. It sounds like EA. Especially when you think back to how Vince was telling about EA earlier. The apology prompted well-deserved criticism from the community that prompted another post by Drew McCoy. Quote, "We've heard you and have spent a lot of time this week discussing the feedback and how we structure events in the future, as well as changes that we will make to Iron Crown." End quote. So basically what they said is we got caught, tried to shut you up with a shitty apology, and you still wouldn't let up. So we're going to say we're going to change stuff in the future and make a small, basically nothing change to the ongoing event. The change, I bet you're asking, is instead of locking everything behind $7 loot boxes, you can direct buy items for $18. Which means if you want all the leftover 22 items from direct buys, you're going to spend upwards of $400. I wish I could say that was the end of it. That we could say that fucking sucked and move on. However, after hearing that bullshit change, people got pissed, and rightfully so. Respawn didn't leave it there and move on. Drew McCoy, executive producer on Apex Legends, started insulting fans and making excuses. Quote, "I've been in the industry long enough to remember when players weren't complete asshats to the developers, and it was pretty neat. I forged a bunch of long-lasting relationships from back then. Would be awesome to get back there and not engage with toxic people or asking how high when a mob screams jump is hopefully a start." End fucking quote. Now there is a lot to unpack there. First of all, Drew, you're a fucking idiot. Attacking the fans is probably the dumbest thing you can do. Not only is your game a success because of these fans, but calling fans names and berating them does not work out. Just ask former fellow EA cocksucker Patrick Sutherland. Now, following this is a fan who posted his response. Quote, "Oh, well I guess you also remember when developers weren't money-grabbing fucks that scam their players too. Free-to-play blah blah blah. That doesn't give you any right to charge $20 for a skin. You should be setting the tone for other companies to follow and stop fucking your player base who commit their time to play your game. Good riddance to your game. I loved it at release. Bought both season passes level 100, hundreds of hours, but after seeing how greedy you got, no surprise really as your EA's bitch. The game's uninstalled, and anything from you in the future can die as quickly as it's released, in my opinion. And fuck anyone that's saying this is better. Like, take their dick out of your mouth and have some respect for yourself." End quote. I can't agree with this guy more. You're pricing players up the ass and getting mad when they are upset. You think Respawn would know better after being scorned by a big shitty company like Activision. They wouldn't go crawling to another big shitty company like EA. Now, I don't advocate for hurling insults at the devs' families and loved ones. However, I do advocate for telling them they fucked up. I don't know why developers and companies lately forget who keeps the fucking lights on. You'd think that'd be the end of it, but nope. our goddamn friend Drew comes back with. There is a wealth of data available on how monetization works in free-to-play games and how we ourselves have run tests by putting skins on sale in the store. The amount of people who spend is crazy low. Most of y'all are freeloaders, and we love that. And a change in price doesn't move the needle. He called the fans freeloaders. What an idiot. When the majority of people upset are the ones who spend the most money. Like the guy who said he bought both battle passes, he was a fan. Another problem is the lower the prices, the more people who are gonna buy, rather than relying on the few people who spend lots of money. Wrapping up the quotes, another community manager shot at the fans by saying, "So it's fine for you all to call us liars, full of shit, and other personal attacks when we communicate an apology and update the event, but we're immature when we call people out on it. Got it." First of all, your apology, if we can even call it that, was garbage. You guys got caught pushing the envelope, then tried to cover it up. I agree that attacking developers' families and loved ones is not okay, but you can't treat all criticism as if it's that. You guys have a public image to uphold. You held to a higher standard than some Reddit commenter. Your job is to listen to the fans and make changes and adjustments based on that, not to start insulting your fans. I'm disappointed in you, Respawn. You fucked up and lost my respect. This doesn't bode well for the community goodwill regarding your next two upcoming games, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and the next Titanfall project you've confirmed. Potential buyers are going to look at the situation and lose interest in your next games out of fear that if they have criticism, you'll just call them names. You fucked up, end of story. Now our main man Vince Impella came out and commented on the whole situation. Quote, "On Friday we gave Apex fans an update on how we were changing the Iron Crown event. Some of the team then joined a discussion with our community on Reddit, and things got to a pretty bad place. Some of our folks crossed the line with their comments, and that's not how we want Respawn to be represented. I apologize to any of our fans that were offended. I will always stand behind the team here at Respawn and support them on speaking out against some of the toxic and nasty comments aimed at their families and loved ones, but we shouldn't contribute to it when we do comment and add to the very thing we want to prevent. Last week we didn't do that. Going forward, we will be better. Having an open, healthy relationship with our community is incredibly important to all of us at Respawn." End quote. Leave it to Vince to come in and help the situation. I liked his apology first. It was an actual apology. And second, he shuts his shitty devs down and pulls back on their collars. I agree with him to an extent when he said they won't deal with personal attacks, but it's the internet. Responding to these people will only shine a light on them being shitty. Let me tell you a lesson I learned as a wee little lad. Fucking ignore them. Respond to the people who actually have some criticism. Treating your entire fans as shitty trolls just doesn't bode well. I held you guys to a higher standard. I had faith in the fact that Respawn of all devs would be able to resist EA's corporate meddling, that they would always hold the players in high regard. Obviously, I was mistaken.